Hey guys, Regina here. And as you can see, I am in my car, and it's the joys of being global and being able to, um, you know, pretty much run your business online is that you can do it anywhere. So today's a special day. Some of you are here usually on our Thursday call. We're not having one this week because it's Thanksgiving in the States, which is a holiday. I think that every day should be Thanksgiving. But on that note, I'm grateful for you guys being here. And today we're going to be talking about a bit about podcasting. It's one of my favorite topics because, well, I had a podcast. I started it, and after having the baby, it kind of dwindled down a bit. But it's a really great way to have content. And just because I'm not active on it now, um, it, it the content is still out there, so people can go to my website and check out, iTunes and see my podcast. However, we've got she'll probably be embarrassed with me saying this, but we've got a little superstar here. No, okay. Sheena Yap-Chan, the um, she is the podcast host of the Tao of Self Confidence, and she goes between Canada and the States, and so she started right before me in podcasting, and she really helped me get off the ground um, in many ways, and she's really been able to grow her podcast up until I think over 800,000 downloads, I think, right now. And it's been how many years, Sheena?
Hi guys, sorry, it's been a little over 3 years now, so
Yeah, cool. And those are some great results, and I just wanted to invite her on today just so she can tell us a bit about how she started, and we're just gonna go with the flow, really. I'm gonna be turning my video off because I have my baby back here, but let's just get started. Let's get into it, guys. So, welcome, Sheena.
oh, thanks for having me, Regina. Hi everybody. So my name is Sheena Yap-Chan, and as Regina mentioned, I have a podcast called The Tao of Self Confidence, which it's been up since September of 2015, and I just started as a way to, I don't know, I guess put up content, and for me it was really to help women with self confidence because I feel like that's something that most women go through, especially being an Asian woman. It's definitely something we go through with cultural and family barriers that happen day to day. And I didn't even know what a podcast was to begin with. I just knew I wanted to create something, whatever it was. At first, I thought I was going to create a blog, but not everyone can read a blog. Not everyone has time to read a blog. We're busy with kids and work and maybe going to the gym, chores, whatever it is. Most people are on the go. So that's when podcasting came into my lap pretty much. When I first started, I didn't even know what it was, but I liked the concept of it was because you can download audios and listen to it at any moment of your time, right? Whether you're jogging, whether you're stuck in traffic, whether you're driving, like some of you guys are doing right now. And I've heard, some people tell me like, oh, I just listened to it while get their kids a bath or, cooking or doing chores. So that's why I decided to do podcasting. And I really love podcasting because number one, it's really easy to connect with, people who have a bigger influence, right? I never realized I could connect with so many people with it. Number two, it's like, you get the messages I get from people, they tell me how much it's helped them and how much it's really helped them in their own way to boost their own confidence and go out there and do speaking gigs or create their own podcast or, become a, kind of chase the dreams that they've always wanted to do. And, also just the opportunities that come to you, right? I mean, I've written for sites like Mind Valley, which I never even knew was such a huge like educational website. And, they asked me to write for them just because of my podcast. So, you get to see things this way. And the only reason why, I guess I've gotten so many downloads or, people might think it's been successful. It's because, I lead with purpose, right? My purpose was always to help women with self-confidence. And I always lead with that, right? I don't tell people that, it's been downloaded so many times, it's been in so many countries. I just tell them, hey, I have a podcast that is about helping women with self-confidence. Now I've kind of niched it down to, helping Asian women with self-confidence, because this was something that I dealt with and I still deal with time to time. But back then there was no support system like this, and for me, like, representation was huge. So this is why I created the podcast. And for me, the community is an amazing community. A couple of years ago, I went to a podcasting event, and the people there were just genuinely nice. They were just genuinely themselves, and you just didn't feel uncomfortable. Like, everyone was really nice, everyone was welcoming, everyone had fun. There was no like sleazy sales tactics. I mean, they have stuff there for sale, but they don't push you to do anything. And it made me realize I was in the right community. So this is why I really love talking about podcasting and what I've done and what it's done for me. I mean, it's also helped me in so many ways, especially when it comes to confidence, because as women, it's not always easy, right? We overthink everything. We think we're not good enough. We doubt ourselves all the time. Um, and this is some of the things we go through, but we always feel like we're the only ones who go through with this, who go through with all these like negative, outcomes. But really, there's so many women out there who, go through the same feelings that you go through. It's just that nobody talks about it because they think it's taboo to talk about it. So, just hearing someone's story about, you know, they've gone through people pleasing, self-doubt, negative thinking, and being able to overcome it is really refreshing, because if it's possible for one person, then it's possible for you. So, you know, I really love podcasting. Some people ask me if it's a lot of work. I guess when you love something you do, you don't really call it work. I mean, yeah, there's days when I get frustrated and there's days where I feel like quitting, but when you have a huge purpose, like, you just keep going, you just keep on going, and you don't know when you're going to start or stop, or you're going to keep going. But if it feels good and you're helping people, then why not? And the beauty of podcasting is you can be whoever you want to be. You can be your true authentic self. You can talk about anything you want, whether it's cars or food or beauty or confidence, your business. I mean, there's so many shows with like so many different topics, and right now a lot of people don't even know about podcasting. There's still a lot of people out there who have no clue what it is, right? There's still so many people out there who don't even tune into podcasts. And with the trend that's going, it's more people are using their phones. There's so many podcast apps out there. Even cars are starting to have like a podcast app player. So I mean, with this trend, it's going to help you build your brand. I mean, anything that's worth doing is going to take a lot of work, but it's, to me, I think it's worth it in the end. And maybe you've been thinking about creating a podcast, or it's been something you wanted to create but you're afraid to do so. I mean, for me, you just make the leap. I mean, I was afraid too when I first started. I thought no one was going to listen to me. I thought people were going to think I'm nuts. People were going to hate my voice. That was the biggest thing. Like, what if they hear my voice and they don't like it? And there were so many like things that I was worried about that just kind of stopped me from doing things. But you just, when you just put it out there and you just keep building it, people can see your progress from episode 1 to like episode 100, right? And they love following stories like that, where they can hear, maybe on episode 1 you were nervous as hell, but episode 100 you have more confidence, you can talk more, you feel more at ease with the microphone. And it's something that I really do love doing, especially if if you don't like video. I think this is a great way to do it. You're just behind a microphone, it's all audio. You can record at any time as long as you have internet connection. Well, if you're doing interviews, but you can do it in your pajamas, you can do it without makeup, you can do it with bedhead. So that's the beauty of it. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So if you were, I know some people who are watching may be thinking, trying to figure out what pieces of content to do, and if podcasting might be on their radar. If they're at the very beginning, what are some of the a couple of the tips that you could give that could help them create content for the podcast, even if they're not planning to do it right now? Like, let's say they plan to do it in a few months or even next year. What are a couple of tips that you would offer?
For me, I think doing on interviews are great, because people love hearing stories, and if you can get 5 people to do an interview and release it once a week, I mean, that's over a month's worth of content, right? If you want to do solo, I mean, you can always look up the internet, and there's so many topics out there you can talk about. You can do like tips, or how tos, top 10 lists. There's so many ways you can you can create content. I mean, if you already have a blog, I mean, you can even turn your blog into an audio, right? I think people love, using audio versus reading, right? Especially with the attention span that we have. Some of us get distracted really easily. So, I mean, there's so many ways to create content. Mine personally, I like doing interviews because it's like the content's created for me. I have a set of like a set of questions that I give to the interviewee so that they're aware of what to expect, and we go from there, and it's conversational, and people love hearing other people's stories.
And so, what was that one moment, or is there one moment when you're interviewing someone where you realize, yeah, I'm actually doing this is what I really want to be doing. Like, I love what I'm doing. Excuse the baby in the background.
Yeah, no worries. She's cute anyway, so it's okay if she makes a little background noise. But I think going to the podcast convention was a really big eye-opening experience, just because meeting, different kinds of podcasters from all walks of life who have, all kinds of different topics, from like love to like cars to like wrestling. It just really showed how important self-expression is, authentic self-expression, especially their keynote speaker was Kevin Smith. And just hearing him talk, like, he didn't talk about, how much money he made or whatever. He just talked about the love of like expressing himself and using the platform of podcasting to do that. And it doesn't always have to be like the good stuff. You can be vulnerable, on your podcast. Like his partner in crime, if you ever saw Silent Bob and Jay, his partner in crime, Jay, went through a lot of drug problems, right? He was a big drug user, and he encouraged him to share his story and what he was going through on a podcast. And so many people, appreciated him for his honesty, because there's people out there who are probably going the same things that he went through, and they empathized with him and helped him kind of, turn his life around. And, you never know whose story can change someone else's life out there.
And I love that you talk about the authentic voice, and talking about Silent Bob and Jay, really taps into that authenticity. What does being authentic actually mean to you? And like, sometimes we're kind of scared of being ourselves. So how do you be you on your podcast?
It took a lot of practice. I mean, just learning to let go. It's not always easy. It's not like, I was authentic in one overnight. It just takes a lot of work, like anything. It's like, if you want to lose weight, you got to go to the gym, 3-4 times a week and eat properly, right? To do that. I mean, if you want to be authentic, surround yourself with people who you find are authentic out there, right? Work on yourself, listening to podcasts, listen to other people's stories, surround yourself with, like-minded individuals. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but the more you work on it, the more you can find your authentic self. And it's also learning to like ask the right questions, right? I find that, the answers pop up when you start asking the right questions.
And so one of the things that you said earlier was, it's kind of good to start with a blog first. Are there any specific tools that you use, other than your blog, that kind of help you with your podcast?
I think for me was also joining like an all women's group. It really helped me realize like my power as a woman, and not learning to be like not afraid to put myself out there, right? I'm social, especially on social media, right? We're so afraid to like take a picture and show it up to people. If like we have a pimple or something, it's like we got to cover that up because we're not perfect. And I think the more we can show like our imperfect selves, the more people can relate to us, because not nobody likes a perfect person, because there's no such thing, right? Like there's no such thing as perfection. It's like not possible. And I think the more we realize that, the more we can go out there and just be who we are and love ourselves, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Are you open to answering questions from those who are here?
Sure.
If any of you have any questions for Sheena, feel free to unmute yourself and just ask the question.
Hi Sheena, it's Rebecca here.
Hi, Rebecca.
I'll put myself on video. I was just wondering, is a podcast only audio, or is there the option of doing videos? Does podcast just mean audio?
Well, there you can do video podcasts. I like doing audio because for me, my purpose is to, for the listener to listen to it at any given moment, right? Some people don't have time to watch videos, and also the guests that I have aren't very comfortable with doing video. But there are people out there who do video podcasts. It is going to cost more because with podcasting, they have their own hosting that you pay, and with video it takes up more memory to upload versus like an audio.
So the podcasting is like the word for the end product, and then there's lots of different platforms that you can choose to send your podcast to. Is that how it works?
So you have the hosting, and it gives you like a link, like an RSS feed, and then you can put that through, big podcast directories such as Apple and Spotify and our iHeartRadio. So, a lot of them are starting to come up with their own podcast directories, and that's where you would send it over. And then other than that, you can upload your audio through YouTube, or, have a blog, share it on social media. I mean, with, so many options now on social media, you can pretty much put it out anywhere.
Okay. And then you receive followers because of the content that your podcast is about. Yes.
Yeah, with podcasting, it's a little different. They based it more on how many people tune in or download your podcast versus how many people are following. I don't know. That's their metrics.
Right.
Yeah, but each directory do have how many people are following. So depending on the directory that your podcast is in, it does show you like, oh, this one has 200 followers, this one has 300, this one has 400. So.
And this is a free, so you're giving people a free service, you creating that content and uploading it as a podcast.
Yeah, there are some people who do paid only podcasts. So it's up to you if you want to create a free, or most of them are free, but there are some who do a paid one.
Great. I don't think I have any other questions. I think that was it mainly.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you. It's really interesting.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that. And Rebecca, you're right. You said podcasting is kind of the end name, and there are different tools that do help you get your podcast together. And so Sheena was talking a bit about hosting. And in this case, what hosting service do you use? Because I use one called Libsyn, and it's a little more expensive than the one that you use.
I use Simplecast just because for audio, I just pay like $12 US a month, and you can upload unlimited audios. Because like with Libsyn, they go by how much memory you upload in a month. And so the more you upload, the more expensive it gets. And so that's why I chose Simplecast, because if I'm only doing audio, then I just pay one price every month, and I don't have to worry about it if I'm going to go up or down. But with video, it's different because it does take more memory, and they do charge more for it. So that's something you would have to consider about when creating a video podcast.
And do you struggle to get people to interview?
At first I did, because I was scared to ask. And I mean, sometimes I'll send 300 emails and I'll probably get like 20. And some of them, it will follow up like 2-3 years from the first time I sent it to them. Wow. But I mean, with anything, right? Like if you're going to pitch something, you might pitch to like 200 companies and you'll get like 10 answers back, right? So it's all like that. But the more you keep doing it, it does get easier. And, you have people who you've interviewed before refer other women, right? So, and with podcasting, there's so many podcasts, like community groups. They do threads where, like, if you're looking for guests, feel free to, let us know. And, those really help out finding guests as well. So being in support groups do make a huge difference as well.
Great. How much time would you put into creating your content and uploading it and everything like that?
It
a
depends
month?
on how much content you want to put out, right? Most of them start with like one podcast a week.
Hmm.
Um, I decided to start with five. I'm not sure why, but
5 a
it is,
week.
yeah, it is. It
Wow.
does get crazy, but I do also do season breaks, so that it's like a little break for me. So it depends on how much time you want to put in, right? And if you're willing to edit your own, episodes or have someone else do it. But I would say start with once a week just to see how it goes. You can always increase it when you want to, um, and you can always go from there. Maybe spend like, a couple hours a week creating the content, thinking about how long you want it, because the longer it is, the more editing there is. So those are things you have to take into consideration because, when I first started, I never knew you had to edit audios. And the first time I did, it took me like 2 hours to like edit a 5-minute audio because I had no clue what I was doing. But the more you do it, the better it gets. So
Right. And so when you're searching for a podcast, you just find your platform, whatever, Spotify, Apple, whatever platform you're using, and you just search for various topics, or do you like hashtag so people can find the topic that your podcast
um,
is about, or how do you have to just go through listening to lots of different people to kind of figure out who you like to listen to? How does that work?
well, yeah, there's so many categories that you can check out. There's like health and beauty, business. I usually go there, and then they usually have like the top like 10 or 20 like podcasts that you can listen to, or they have a new and noteworthy on Apple. So you
Mhm.
can go from there, or just people mentioning their podcast, what it's about. So yeah, there's like so many ways to check it out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. Does anyone else have any questions? Yeah, I like audio over video for podcasting because editing is easier.
Yeah, it's way easier. I till this day I don't know how to edit a video.
And it's really not that much different. You're just dealing with a different dimension, the visual dimension. So I mean, you'd be able to pick it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, but I remember I interviewed a girl who edits videos on Facebook where the tasty videos, and like one video took like 2-3 days to edit. So yeah, if you're willing to prepare to like take that long, I mean, just keep that in mind.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your knowledge.
Well, thanks for having me here. Appreciate it.
And so, just to the rest of you, obviously, this is really just the beginning to give you an idea of other ways that you can create content. And so, if this is a topic that really interests you, then definitely let us know. Let me know, and we can do something a bit more in depth for you, more like hands-on, maybe possibly a series, and um, you know, we'll, we'll see how it is. Today's kind of a different day because I'm out on the road, but maybe I'll let you guys know when the next Zoom call is, and maybe we'll check in and see how each of us are doing, like we normally do. Um, and yeah, anyone else have any questions or comments, or want to tell us a win that you've had this week?
Just one question. Helping with Self-Confidence podcast. Where do you find it?
Oh,
Would I
my
just
podcast?
Yeah.
You can find it on Apple iTunes, Spotify. If you type the Tao of Self Confidence, it's there. Or if you
Okay.
type my name, I'm like the only Sheena Yapchan in the world. You can also check out the website. It's called the Tao of Self-Confidence.com, and there's tools and resources there, past episodes. So yeah.
Nice. It's a great thing that you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Mm.
And I think too, what we can do in the Facebook group is just put a link. I thought I tagged you, but maybe I didn't. Put a
You
link
might
in
have
the
done.
Facebook group.
Mm.
Yeah, check to see if there's a tag. If there's not, then we'll add it in.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Great. Thanks,
Great.
Sheena. Thanks,
Thank you.
Regina.
You're welcome, and we'll talk to you guys soon. I'll check in with you guys in the meantime, and see what topics we can talk about next. Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
You're
Anytime.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye.